Hello once again, audience. Ladies and gentlemen, it is almost time for the second leg of the quarterfinals of this season's Champions League. And I, for one, am excited. am very much excited by this. Even though Liverpool are not in it, and don't get me wrong, I am gutted we are not in it. I would love to be in it. I'm excited by what this week has in store for us, not just in terms of the Champions League, but in terms of other competitions as well. We've, of course, got big implications in the Europa League as well. Chelsea continuing their quest at the Europa Conference League, which could have obviously big implications there in terms of obviously making history, the first team to ever do all three tiers of European football, if obviously they can make it to the final and win it. I'm excited for this. And we're going to dive into the Champions League, though, today. We're going to be talking about Arsenal. Can they keep their nerve at the Bernabeu? We're going to be talking Aston Villa. Can they fight back against PSG? Barcelona look like they're through to the next round of the competition. And, of course, we're going to be doing a little bit of Inter against Bayern as well, with Inter, of course, taking a 2-1 lead back home with them to the San Siro. Who have we got here? As always with these videos, hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you are new. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. And, of course, get your comments in the chat, like what Luca has here. I know this was quite a while ago, Luca, so how are you doing, my bro? If you're still here, if you're obviously back with us, obviously, thank you for stopping by, my dude, and getting involved. Hope you are well, my friend. Guys, go and subscribe to Luca Talks Ball. Absolute legend. In my personal opinion, knows his stuff, talks a lot of Arsenal, does a lot of other stuff as well, a lot of other vlogs and other things to that nature as well. Either way, very entertaining stuff over there. There's something for everyone. Do go and subscribe to Luca Talks Ball. Like I say, got some really good stuff brewing over there on his channel. And You'll Never Walk Alone 66. Big up, Fletch, bro. Big up yourself, man. Thank you for joining us. Again, go and subscribe to this guy as well. Got some really good stuff going on his channel as well. A lot of watch-alongs, a lot of other things to that nature as well. Go and subscribe to this guy. And straight after this, by the way, just quick a shout out. I think we are doing a Liverpool transfer stream as well. So we're going to be talking some Liverpool stuff on his channel. Myself will be over there with him as well. So, yeah, I can't wait for that as well. But that's all to come a little later. For the here and now, though, we are talking Champions League. And I, for one, am excited about this. We're going to obviously start with Wednesday's big games. And I think the big game on Wednesday is actually going to be Inter versus Bayern, because, as I said in last week's live stream, I don't see any way back for Real Madrid. Look, we can talk about the heritage and the history of Real Madrid, and we can talk about how Carlo Ancelotti and Real Madrid have this weird affiliation with this competition and all of this kind of stuff about how, you know, if anyone's going to do the impossible, it's going to be Real Madrid. And yes, there is an element of truth to that, and you would put them in a small bracket of teams that could come back from 3 goals down to knock out Arsenal. But I just don't think it's going to happen. I just think Arsenal are going to overcome this, overcome their nerves. I think they're going to... They may not even win the game. And I can personally see that happening. They may not win the game, but either way, they're getting through. I think that is the main thing. They are getting through. Cheers, bro. Cheers yourself, man. Like I say, lovely to have you here with us. And obviously, fantastic channel you've got over there yourself. Bala, my dude, long time no see in the chat. Like, lovely to see you as well, man. Vamos. I am so bad with words. We have Fletch talking about Real Madrid. Do Don Carlo Ancelotti's eyebrows. UEFA might help Hala Madrid. Indeed. Like I say, there is... could you imagine the... could you imagine if if Real Madrid was to pull off somewhat of the impossible, yeah, it would be it would be incredible. It would be absolutely incredible if that was to be the case. There we go. Just sort that out for you. But yeah, I personally think that Arsenal are done. I think Arsenal have done enough to get through. Now, in saying that, of course, it is Real Madrid, it is the Bernabeu, yada, 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 superstitious nonsense. I get that. I 100% get that. But I just think this Arsenal defence is too good. It's too good to at least not concede 3 or more goals, is what I'm going to say. Again, they very well could lose the game on the night. Do I expect them to lose the tie overall? Do I expect them to lose on aggregate? Do I expect them to maybe even lose on penalties? I personally can't see it happening. It would be incredible if Arsenal were to bottle it from this position. It'd be incredible if Real Madrid were to come back. I think Arsenal have got this in the bag, in all honesty, and they are through to the semi-finals. You don't expect an interesting referee for Real Madrid match. Arsenal fans have been ranting and raving about the PGMOL all season. If they were to get something like that in the transfer window, in the Champions League as well, they would absolutely lose it. They would absolutely lose it and be demanding that they pull their club from all competitions until they can get fair referees. Yeah, madness. Bayern have to go out personally Inter play better football and could go to the final again. I don't think anybody wants to play Inter. I said that from Liverpool going out, I think Inter are the team to watch in this competition, and I think they will cause the most teams the most problems. I think Inter are definitely ones to look out for, but we will talk about them a little later on. We're going to focus on Arsenal for the here and now, bro, but I love your comment. Yes, was able to join this one. Like I say, you're very much welcome, bro. You are welcome. Always and all. So thank you for joining us. Jordan Hyman, my brother, how are you doing, my dude? Go and subscribe to this guy as well, guys. This guy is doing absolute bits right now in terms of watch-alongs. Not just football. Obviously, if you love your football, Jordan's your place to go. But if you also love your cricket, and I think were you doing wrestling last night, bro? I think you were doing wrestling last night, weren't you? You like your cricket and your wrestling and all other kind of things, then this is the place to go. Jordan Hyman's YouTube channel. Go and find it, guys. It is awesome. He's doing some really good stuff over there. Check him out as well. Do you see Ipswich winning against Arsenal or no chance? Do you see Crystal Palace or South East? They could do. They could do. I think if Arsenal obviously are going to be putting their eggs in the Champions League basket, they very well could win. It could be a very much a rotated Arsenal side. They could just completely give up on the league. And let's face it, a lot of people are saying that Liverpool have won it now. It's inevitable. So it would make sense for Arsenal to rotate. They probably still have a strong enough squad that they probably might not lose those games, especially the Ipswich game. The Palace game might be a bit more difficult. But yeah, I think if you are Arsenal right now, you are mainly focused on the Champions League games that are going to be coming up. Because like I say, I still think they are going through to the semi-finals. Arsenal are playing PSG next, it seems. Yeah, seems that way. We will again talk about Villa and PSG a little later as well. PSG get along with UEFA too. Always with the conspiracy theories. Many don't see Arsenal conceding 3 is what many expect. Absolutely. This is what I'm saying. Like, I don't think Arsenal are going to concede at the very least 3 goals and then probably lose it on penalties. At the very least, they're not conceding 3. I think at the very most they concede 2. But even then, Real Madrid have to score at least 3, maybe 4, without Arsenal responding. And I think that's going to be very difficult. I'm very interested to know how Arsenal are going to approach this game. Do they go with how they did in the first leg? Do they try and just say, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing? Go for the kill? Or do they sit back, invite the pressure on, trust in their defense that they are going to neutralize Real Madrid for the most part, and then use the likes of Saka on one side, Gabriel Martinelli on the other, as extremely quick counter-attacking options? I'm very much interested. It's a big stick or twist thing for Mikel Arteta. I personally think 1 goal for Arsenal kills the game off entirely. I know that I'm saying that Arsenal have won the game already. Arsenal are through to the semi-finals, but there could also be the option that Arsenal go for the kill straight away, get the early goal, force Real Madrid into scoring at the very least 4 goals without another reply, and then just sit back and enjoy the game. Because I don't see a world in which they concede that many and that amount of goals. The last time that Arsenal conceded 3 goals was against Luton Town last year, where they won 4-3. I think the only time they've ever lost by 3 goals or more was when, I remember reading, it was against Manchester City when they lost 4-1. And I think that was in the season where they were 8 points clear, Saliba got injured, and they bottled the league. So, yeah, it doesn't happen regularly. Real Madrid are going to have to pull off an incredible performance if they are to get through. If they are to pull the rabbit out of the hat. It would be absolutely insane of Carlo Ancelotti and Real Madrid if they were to achieve that. Well done on 769 subscribers. Thanks, bro. Appreciate that, and appreciate to every single one of those. It is obviously growing steadily, and I'm enjoying the journey that we're on, and I'm just loving doing it. Like, if it goes somewhere, it goes somewhere. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm enjoying the journey that we're on as a community. We're growing, and we're doing other bits and pieces, and I'm really happy about that, and I'm glad. So thank you to each and every single one of you for obviously making that happen. So yeah, can't thank you guys enough. Are you doing a golf watch along? Rory McIlroy won the other day. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Golf ain't my thing. If I am struggling to get to sleep, I would consider maybe putting it on. But as far as doing a live stream goes, it's not for me. It's really not for me, I'm afraid. Lid is closed in Real Madrid Stadium. Is it true? Rice is cooked better with a lid on. Well, if there was a lid on the Emirates the other day, he certainly would have blown it right off with his performance. He was absolutely insane the other day, and obviously Arsenal fans would be expecting another sort of performance of that level from him going forward. This is the thing. This is what I will say about Arsenal, right? As much as I think that the game is done and dusted, as much as I think Arsenal have won the game, they are through to the semi-finals, and they are going to be facing arguably PSG in the next round of the competition. Arsenal don't perform or do well under pressure. And what I mean by that is that every single time this season they've been expected to get a result. Maybe Liverpool have dropped points. Maybe Liverpool are yet to play that particular weekend, and there is an opportunity for Arsenal to put some pressure on Liverpool in the title race that was, at least for the most of the season. Arsenal have failed. Arsenal have crumbled. Last week at the Emirates, there was no pressure on Arsenal. And what I mean by that is nobody was expecting Arsenal to do what they did. At the very most, a small selection of Arsenal fans were maybe hoping of a 1-0 win, a 2-1 win, or maybe a draw to take to the Bernabeu to at least make it somewhat competitive until they got to the Bernabeu itself. So the pressure wasn't really on them. Then they hit Real Madrid with a 3-goal massacre. It was a massacre. Like, Arsenal were unbelievable on the day. On the night, they were unbelievable. They play exceptionally well. 3-0 was the minimum that they probably deserved from this entire thing. Now, though, regardless of whether it takes place in this game that is coming up, or whether it takes place in the semi-final, the pressure is going to be ranked. It's going to be cranked up a few extra notches because now Arsenal have put a target on their back. Arsenal have put a massive target on their back. The pressure is on. The pressure is up. And as we know, they don't necessarily handle the pressure to the best of their ability. So this is going to be a real test for Arsenal as to whether or not they can hold their nerve at the Bernabeu and whether or not they can go on and face PSG again and get the job done both at home and in Paris. We already know that they've beaten them in the league phase. We already know that earlier on in the campaign that they did beat PSG. It's not the same PSG as what they are going to be facing in the semi-final, if of course both teams get there, because they didn't have Kvaratskhelia, for example. They didn't have the kind of players that are in form now that weren't necessarily in form when they first played them. They're a much more well-oiled machine. They are a much better unit right now than what Arsenal faced time ago. So Arsenal fans can't be going into that game if they get there thinking this is going to be a walk in the park. We've beaten them before. We will definitely beat them again. Because that is an oversight, that is overconfidence, and that will come back to bite you. What else we got here? Ballum says, Luka Modric made news this week already, brought a minority ownership in Swansea. Did Joe Allen ask him to do this? I mean, he was called the Welsh Xavi, wasn't he, by Brendan Rodgers? Maybe he is the Welsh Modric. I don't know. No, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of mad news, isn't it? It's a bit of mad news, but we shall see. We shall see. Arsenal never won a European trophy, yet they won against Real Madrid and Barcelona at home in the past. They've done really well. Like I say, they've done really well so far. They just need to go that extra mile. Do I think they will go on and win it? No. I think PSG will give them a good run for their money. And like I say, I think on the other side of the draw, I think they've got to hope that if they are to get through to the final, they are facing Barcelona rather than Inter. I think Inter's low block could really, really stop Arsenal if that is to obviously occur for the final this year. Elizabeth, welcome along to the channel. Welcome along to the video, the live stream. Hope you are well. Thank you for joining us. You say that Arsenal will not win because they are cursed. I mean, I hope you're right. I'm waxing lyrical about Arsenal, and I have been waxing lyrical about Arsenal pretty much all week to anyone who will listen about what an incredible performance it was last week, and what an incredible result, of course. But I hope you are right. I hope we are going to see a miracle. I hope we are going to see Arsenal be cursed and Real Madrid to come back and get the all-important win to get them through to the semi-final. I don't want them to win it. I don't want neither of these two sides to win it, in all honesty. But at the same time, I would much rather Arsenal fans bottle it. Well, Arsenal players bottle it. And then the Arsenal fans go in complete meltdown again because they've been way too happy this week. Way too happy, my liking. No, but I think it does pose a good question as well. I think there is a good question to come out of this. If Arsenal are to bottle it from this position, what then becomes about of Mikel Arteta? Because it seems like he's obviously going to stay. But what are the excuses going to be if he does bottle it? Because Arsenal fans this season have been coming out with a ton of excuses. PGMOL this, PGMOL that, referees this, referees that, VAR this, VAR that, injuries this, injuries that. There's been a ton of excuses thrown in the way of Mikel Arteta to kind of deflect blame by a lot of the Arsenal fan base. Not everyone, but a lot of them. I'm curious to know what the excuse will be if, on the small, minute chance that Arsenal do bottle it on Wednesday night. I'm going to be watching a ton of Arsenal fans' live streams just to gauge the opinions and the reaction of that, because I think it could be a very, very interesting topic, especially for a lot of the Arteta inners that are out there right now. Bayern are simply crawling to the Bundesliga title. Harry Kane will win a trophy in a few weeks. Bayern with Xabi Alonso are simply drawing matches. Bayern are almost Bundesliga winners again. Yeah, I mean, I think you could look at Xabi Alonso's Bayer Leverkusen and think it's been a bit of a missed opportunity this year to really defend their Bundesliga crown. Doesn't take anything away from what they achieved last season. Of course, last season was phenomenal as far as what they're concerned. An invincible season domestically. Obviously making it to the Europa League final as well, losing out to Atalanta. Yeah, it was an incredible season last season, and I think they'll be kicking themselves as a bit of a missed opportunity this year, but we shall see. We shall see how next season goes. It's like I say, it's a missed opportunity for Bayer Leverkusen. It's also it would also have been a big opportunity considering the fact that obviously Bayern will probably had one eye on the Champions League this week, which is why they did probably drop points at the weekend. And for Leverkusen, of course, the chances are is that Bayern will probably be out of this competition, maybe this week. So the opportunity window is somewhat closed if that is to happen. Bayern lost to Aston Villa away this season. They are going through a transition, as they say many times in football. Vincent Kompany, man. Vincent Kompany. He's going to be a Bundesliga title winner. Yeah, make of that what you will, considering last season, of course, the dreadful Burnley experiment in the Premier League. You always say Inter Milan are a team to watch. Barcelona would be a good test for them. Oh, absolutely. Like, that is obviously looking like that's going to be the semi-final tie on the other side of the draw this year. And if it is, it's going to be a case of the irresistible force in Barcelona meets the immovable object of Inter Milan. Barcelona score a ton of goals. Rafinha is the top goal scorer and I believe the top assist maker in the Champions League this year. And then you've got them coming up against the best defense in the Champions League. I think they've only conceded 4 goals, is it? I think, so far this season in the Champions League. I'll be looking forward to that. Like I say, the irresistible force meets the immovable object. I'm looking forward to that game. That's why I hope Inter get through. Bayern, I think Barcelona tear them apart. That's why I'm looking forward to more seeing a proper chess game between Inter and Barcelona, if they, of course, get past Bayern, because Barca are through. If Marco's in the chat, by the way, I just want to put this out. Marco, if you're in the chat or if you're watching on repeat or whatever, I told you to back your team. I told you Barcelona would get the job done in the first leg. Trust me, bro. Trust me, man. I know what I'm talking about. Kind of, a little bit. Sometimes, maybe. Either way, we got it done. Real Madrid win would be up there with win against Juventus with last-minute penalty and other moments they had in Champions League last few years. I said it last week. We have seen big comebacks happen. We have seen big comebacks happen. We've seen, obviously, Barcelona come back against PSG. We've seen Roma come back against Barcelona. We've obviously seen, as Liverpool fans, Liverpool come back against Barcelona themselves. It's not out of the realms of possibility for Real Madrid to do the impossible on Wednesday night. They have heritage. They have history. They seemingly make deals with the devil in this competition to keep them alive and to bring success to that football club in this competition. However, I don't see this being their year. Don't see this being their year, given the situation that is currently in play, where they're having to overturn a 3-goal deficit against one of the best defenses in Europe right now. An Arsenal side that are going to stay compact, stay disciplined, are going to frustrate and annoy Real Madrid as much as what Real Madrid would do the other way around if the shoe was on the other foot. I just don't see a world in which Real Madrid score 3 unanswered goals, let alone 4 or 5 or however many they're going to need on the night. 1 goal, of course, it's a possibility. It'd be very, very difficult for me to say that as good as what Arsenal defense is, they're not going to keep Real Madrid out for 180 minutes of football. 2 goals, it could happen. It very well could end something like 2-0 or 2-1. But even in that scenario, 2-1, Arsenal still score. And it means the goals that are needed for Real Madrid goes up by 1. I just don't see a world in which Real Madrid can score 3 unanswered goals at the very least and stop Arsenal from scoring. Arsenal's attack isn't that great. Arsenal's attack, we know, is not that great. It's a little bit blunt at times. It's not as razor sharp as it could be. But when you're in this scenario, you're relying on moments. Declan Rice's 2 free kicks last week, moments. The Merino goal, very good for what it was. But that is like what can happen if you counter-attack them. If you sit deep, you counter-attack, those moments can spring. Saka bombing down one side. Martinelli speeding down the other. The counter-attack option is certainly there for Arsenal to use at their disposal. The Real Madrid defense isn't exactly as watertight as what we've known it in previous years. It's there for Arsenal for the taking. And like I say, I think 1 goal puts this game even more so to bed than I think it already is. But I think it puts any shadow of a doubt to rest if Arsenal do get, at the very least, 1 goal in my personal prediction. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll be glad to hold my hands up and say I was wrong. But at the same time, I just don't see it. I just personally don't see it. Trust me, bro. I can't even speak. Trust me, bro. Fletcher knows ball and his stuff in football. I try. I'm learning. I'm still a student of the game. I'm learning every day. I know you won't want to talk about the match too much. Many feel by giving away 3 goals could be too much. Real Madrid will need to score goals and an early goal, for example. Oh, absolutely. I think if you're Real Madrid, you really need to test Arsenal's mettle in this. And the best way to do that, get the fans on the side early with an early goal. It sounds maybe cliche. It may sound obvious. It may sound like, I'm stating the obvious facts. But if it's true, like if you really want to test Arsenal's mettle, and it goes back to what I was saying earlier about how the pressure sometimes can get to Arsenal and it can really affect them sometimes. If you really, really want to get the fans on side, if you really want to test Arsenal's nerve, score an early goal. The roof is going to obviously create an even louder atmosphere. The fans in the stadium are going to be on it from the start. They've been riled up all week, it seems, by this. They're going to demand some form of redemption. They're going to want and demand some form of resurrection, some form of redemption from their team. But they're also going to try and unnerve Arsenal. Best way to do that, score an early goal. Score an early goal, get the fans on side, and really, really test Arsenal's mettle in this situation. Do you think McDonald's League needs Paris FC put up because how dominant PSG are as French League champions? Many say PSG will eventually win the UCL. Oh, absolutely. I think the only thing that PSG are lacking is it's just a typical number 9. That's a typical striker, a typical killer in front of goal, because they've got so many good players. So many good players. That's to say that they've lost over the past few years the likes of Mbappe and Messi and Neymar. They lost all these superstars. Luis Enrique and PSG have done extremely well in changing their approach to transfers and saying, you know what, the superstar model doesn't work. But let's instead go for building more of a team. Let's go instead for building bigger and better players that are more all-round, that fit more within a style, more within a system, more within a machine. And Luis Enrique is a fantastic manager that I have praised and praised and praised for many a year. I really like him a lot. And you're seeing the fruits of the labor right now at PSG. They are a very well-oiled machine. They are so technically gifted, and they are going from strength to strength. Do I think they will win this competition? One day they will. I think if they can get a clinical goal scorer to play up front, a more natural centre forward, I think they'll have pretty much the complete package as far as a team goes. Some of the players that they have is insane. Some of the players that they have are just insane. Dembele is really shining now at PSG. You've got Kvaratskhelia, who I absolutely adored at Napoli and was so annoyed when Liverpool didn't decide to pull their finger out and go all out for him. Doué, what a player he is. What player is Barcola? Phenomenal. Even behind that, likes of Vitinha, I forgot his frigging name now. I was just thinking about it, but I forget his name. Even their fullbacks are incredible. Hakimi and Nuno Mendes are absolutely incredible. They're probably the best fullbacks in Europe right now. They're probably the best fullback duo and just the best fullbacks in general in Europe right now. They are absolutely insane. Nuno Mendes is just incredible, and Hakimi, he was a little rash at times whenever I've seen him, but he seems to be a bit more disciplined now. They are incredible. They are absolutely incredible, PSG. And I think they've obviously proven a lot of people wrong this year. They've proven a lot of people wrong this year. Look, as far as what the French League goes, the French League is the French League. Like, they've absolutely walked it this season, and they probably will do again for a number of years. Every now and again, maybe another French team will give them a bit more of a challenge, but ultimately they should be winning that competition year in, year out until either the money kind of evens itself out in that league or whatever the hell happens. I'm not 100% sure. But at the end of the day, in terms of the Champions League, look, PSG, ultimately, they will win it one day. And I think they are probably one player away from me being completely convinced. I think they make it to the final this year. I really, really do. But I'm still backing Inter to somehow, some way, find a way to win the competition. To get past Bayern at the San Siro, to then get past the irresistible force that is Barcelona, and then they'll probably meet PSG in the final. I'm backing Inter all the way to win it. PSG could take confidence with a penalty shootout away win to Liverpool last round. Arsenal look to be next for them unless something changes. And I said that. I said when PSG knocked us out of the competition, I said that is a massive European night for PSG, the kind of European night that they've been dreaming of for a very long time, to obviously make a reality. And they will take an immense amount of confidence and a momentum boost from that victory. And that's exactly what they've done. That is exactly what they've seemingly done, and that's hopefully what they will take forward with them, because they were unbelievable that night. And then in the first leg against Aston Villa, you could maybe argue that Unai Emery's kind of gambles and some of his risk taking that he did in terms of maybe the squad and the team selection that day, and maybe even substitutions were a little bit risky and they didn't quite pay off for Aston Villa. But take nothing away, PSG were brilliant, and they scored 3 brilliant goals on the night to obviously set themselves up pretty well for the second leg. Even though it is away from home, PSG is set up brilliantly for the second leg. Do you think Aston Villa will mainly focus on the FA Cup semi-final match? Absolutely. They've got a very good chance of winning that. They've got Crystal Palace in the semi-final. That is a good opportunity, a favourable opportunity to, of course, make it through to the final. And then they'll take on one of Nottingham Forest or Manchester City. And let's face it, City haven't exactly been great all season. Forest, I think you've seen the past couple of games, maybe they are mainly now focused on that FA Cup run as well. And of course, like I said, they have a very good opportunity to knock out Man City themselves. Villa, on the other hand, we know that they can beat Man City. We know that they can beat Forest. And we know that obviously in recent weeks in the Premier League, they've of course been very, very good. Their confidence is sky high. In the Premier League, at least, they're on a very good run of form. I think the FA Cup may be now turning their attention to, as well as obviously the top 4 race. I think that maybe we could see Aston Villa maybe give it a good run give it a good 45 minutes. And if they don't get anything out of those 45 minutes, we may start to see them go, you know what, we'll live to fight another day. We'll get back in the competition next year. We'll go for the FA Cup this year. And we will go again. We'll go again. So that's kind of my prediction for the Aston Villa game, I guess. As much as I would love to see, again, a fight back. And, of course, Unai Emery, we talked about him a lot in recent weeks, how, of course, he knows this competition. He's very good in Europe. He knows how to balance things very well. I think that maybe he will give it 45 minutes, see how things go. If things are looking good for Villa, he may decide, you know what, let's go for it. If not, he may decide to, as the game draws on, to maybe retreat and go, you know what, we'll focus on getting in the top 4/top 5. We'll focus on the FA Cup as well. PSG need Paris FC for some competition in their league. Brest done well this season. They were always going to lose to PSG in the knockout phases. CBS Sport loves Brest. Micah Richards does anyway. I don't watch the French league, unfortunately. I know they've got a few decent players in there. I think PSG have done really well this season to maybe put the French league back on the map a little bit more. Maybe not in terms of it being a competitive league, but in terms of there being individual talent there, and obviously PSG being a bit more of a force in Europe. So fair play to them for doing that, because at the beginning of the season, they were a complete joke. So I think fair play to PSG for doing that. We shall see. We shall see what happens. We shall see if the French league is somewhat worth more keeping an eye on and maybe trying to make more competitive as we progress. Monaco, I think, lost to Benfica also. Many thought Monaco could have done more to progress. Again, those are the kind of games that look favourable, but ultimately are not. I think you're right, because I think when I did the video that talked about the playoff knockout stages kind of thing, I think... I think it was because I think there were I think it was like 3/4 were either French clubs or we had the Portuguese side in Benfica. So yeah, definitely a lot there to look back on and to look on. I forget his name from the last live. No guess. Jordan. Jordan was on live. Don't think he could join us today. I know he was in the chat earlier, but it doesn't seem like he stayed around, unfortunately. But obviously, lovely that he came by anyway. But yeah, like I say, I don't really plan to have guests. But if anyone does want to like talk and jump on, you have to put it in the chat, and I'll drop the link in there. I know you had a fellow Red on last live. I have to go soon, going briefly out this afternoon. Well, I hope you enjoy your day, dude. I hope whatever you're doing is fun for you. And like I say, I always appreciate you stopping by, even if it is very briefly. I always appreciate anybody and everybody stopping by, maybe dropping a like on the video, subscribing. You get me. And of course, just dropping something in the chat, whether it is just how you doing, or whether it is something football related. Always appreciated, always welcome. Love you guys so much. As Possessed Boy is in the house. How you doing, my dude? You are well. Thank you for joining us. Any thoughts on the Champions League this week? Who do you support, by the way? I don't. I'd love to know anything and everything. Anything and everything that you got to say. Would love to know. I only mentioned Paris FC because of the French Paris team and their slight sponsorship with Red Bull with Kloppo. Yeah, like I say, we'll see what happens with the French league, bro. We will see what happens with the French league. Take care, Vlad. It was good to have you, and Jordan on last live. Yeah, Jordan's always great to talk to. He's always got some very good insight on whatever he's talking about. So, yeah, all good. Thank you, bro. Thank you for coming by, Ballum. Really do appreciate you, bro. And I will talk to you again soon, my dude. Hope you have a good day, man. Lucas in the house. How are you doing, bro? Hope you are well. I'm all good, man. Hope you are too. How are you feeling ahead of tomorrow night's game? Are you nervous? Are you excited? Are you confident? Let me know what you think, my man. Would love to know what you have to say. Like I say, guys, go and subscribe to this guy's channel. Absolutely awesome. Got some really good stuff going on over there. Awesome stuff on his channel that he's developing. So yeah, do check out Luca Talks Ball. He's an Arsenal fan, but he knows what he's talking about. So yeah, get over there, get subscribing to him, and get watching some of his content. It's really, really good. He's also an MK Dons fan, actually. So he's got a bit of everything going on over there. He's got a bit of a different, unique sort of channel with some different type of content over there. Some really good and entertaining stuff. Get over there, get subscribing, and get watching his stuff, guys. Really, really good what he's got going on. This has been going for almost 45 minutes. Just rambling. This is all this is, rambling. It's like therapy for me. I love it. So I'm going with Arsenal. I'm going with Arsenal to hold their nerve, to get through. I think that's a given. I don't see Real Madrid scoring 3, maybe more, like against that Arsenal defense. I don't think that is going to happen. Aston Villa PSG, I think PSG are through. I think the first leg really does give PSG a very good leg to stand on going into the second leg. As much as I would like to see a Villa fight back and to make it more of a contest, I think PSG are just too good. I think they proved it in the first leg. Again, you could maybe argue that Emery's tactics, his substitutions, whatever, were a little bit of a gamble that didn't quite pay off. But ultimately, PSG are just too good. They are just a very, very good side, very well oiled. Their front three is dynamic. They are electric. They are versatile. They are just fluid in the way that they interchange. 1 minute you may be facing Kvaratskhelia. The next minute you might be facing Doué. The next minute you might be facing Dembele. You don't really know who you're going to be facing, what you're going to be facing in that PSG team. They are a very well-oiled machine. and I think they are a danger and a threat to this competition. I'm going with PSG to get through there. Barcelona Dortmund, that's also on tonight. That should be a very comfortable game for Barcelona to go through. Obviously 4-0 up from the first leg. 4-0 up from the first leg. I said that they'd get the job done and dusted in the first leg. I'm proven right. There's absolutely... if we're talking about Real Madrid not getting back into a game against Arsenal, then what chance do the Borussia Dortmund have of getting back into the game against Barcelona? I'm giving Real Madrid a 5% chance of getting back into the game against Arsenal. I'm giving a 0.5% chance of Borussia Dortmund getting back into the game against Barcelona. So I think it's pretty set that Barcelona are through to the next round. And then, of course, we've got more of a game that is hanging in the balance. Inter Milan, Bayern Munich, which was a very interesting first leg with, obviously, Bayern playing quite well, I would say. I'd say they played quite well. They just didn't take their chances. I guess that is safe to say that they just did not take their chances in the game. And Inter punished them. Inter definitely punished them for missing those opportunities. Lautaro Martinez scores a fantastic goal. Good goals all around, really. Or good pieces to play at least. But it does hang more in the balance. 2-1, very risky scoreline. Going to be interesting to see how both teams approach this. We know that Vincent Kompany really only has one way of playing, and it's just attack. We know that obviously he's very stubborn in that way. But what we do know about Inter, like I say, Inter will punish you if you don't take your chances. Inter defensively can be solid, and I think with the atmosphere of the San Siro that it can generate, with what the San Siro holds, with the home advantage, I'm sticking with my prediction of Inter. I said Inter from the beginning. I said Inter when it was full-time last week. And now, on the eve of the second leg being played out in Italy, I'm sticking with my prediction of Inter Milan to go through to the semi-finals of the Champions League, where they will meet Barcelona. So I'm going with an Arsenal-PSG semi-final, and then the other half of the draw, I am going with a Inter Milan-Barcelona semi-final. One that mouth-watering, and I can't wait for it. On one side of the draw, you've got two teams that have never won the Champions League. On the other side of the draw, you've got two teams that are no stranger to, of course, Champions League glory, but, of course, haven't tasted it in quite a while. Either way, I'm excited for this. Again, I wish Liverpool were in this. I wish we were in this capacity. I wish we were being talked about in this scenario, going through to a Champions League semi-final. But it's not to be. And instead, we're talking about Arsenal, Real Madrid. We're talking about PSG, Aston Villa. We're talking about Borussia Dortmund, Barcelona, and, of course, Inter, Bayern Munich. It's going to be a big couple of days ahead. It's going to be a massive couple of days ahead. It's going to be a massive few days ahead for every team that is in, obviously, European competition. We haven't just got Champions League, but we've got the Europa League, like I mentioned at the top of the video. Tottenham going against Eintracht Frankfurt in Frankfurt, by the way. So that's going to be an absolute hostile atmosphere for Tottenham to walk into. And again, they don't exactly strike me as a team that basically plays on confidence, and a team that, thrives off of that, thrives under the pressure, thrives under the intensity. They more crumble from it, in all honesty. So I'm kind of anticipating Spurs to get knocked out of the Europa League. Man United Lyon, it was an absolute goalkeeping disaster class from Andre Onana last Thursday. But despite that, unless he's to go in goal again and to kind of top his performance with another disaster class, I'm anticipating United to get through. United should get through. They are the home team on the day. They should. By hook or by crook, I think Man United will get through. And Chelsea in the Europa Conference League, I mean, I think they're already like 3-0 up, aren't they, in that competition? So there's really no need to really go over that one because Chelsea should be wiping the floor with anyone and everyone in that competition, realistically. There may be one or two teams that may pose a bit more of a threat to Chelsea, and we're talking like really later on down the line. So maybe in the next round or the round after. I don't know. I've not been paying attention to that tournament. It just doesn't sit right with me. When West Ham won it a couple of years ago, like, it meant more and it was more exciting, and I understand why they have those moments and why obviously it meant more and it was great for West Ham to do. Chelsea winning it just doesn't have that same kind of buzz to me because the amount of money that they've spent, the project that is going on at Chelsea right now, the fact that they should be wiping the floor, like I say, with every team going. I just it just doesn't hold the same amount of weight to me as it probably should. So yeah, I can't. I can't really comment. Can't really comment really. So I just sorted something out for a little later. There we go. Sorted. There we go. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this week. It's going to be a massive week. It's going to be a massive, massive week. Could be a massive week in terms of the Premier League as well. Obviously, we've got the relegation battle to look forward to. We've got the Premier League title, which could take one big step closer towards being wrapped up for Liverpool, of course. The race for Champions League places heats up. Bournemouth, of course, beat Fulham last night to get back to winning ways. Big 1-0 win for the Cherries there. Antoine Semenyo. Big goal from Antoine Semenyo as well. Big goal for Semenyo. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. There's a lot. There is a lot as well. So, yeah, I personally can't wait for this week. It's going to be it's a big week for Champions League. It's a big week for Europa League. Big week for Europa Conference League. You've got Premier League. You've got other stuff buzzing around in the background as well. Things like transfers, things of that nature. I'm very much anticipating a huge week. And if they can throw in a few surprises along the way, I wouldn't be too busy. Wouldn't mind that as long as it's not anything bad against Liverpool, of course. If Liverpool are linked with, say, a few top quality players in the summer, that would be lovely. If, Arsenal get knocked out by Real Madrid, that would be pretty amusing. if Chelsea were to get knocked out of the Europa Conference League, that would be the icing on the cake. Icing on the cake. Could be a few managers that are could have their heads on the chopping block this week. I mean, if Tottenham get knocked out of the Europa League, Postecoglou could go. I'm sure we'll talk about that later on in the week. Could be an interesting topic of discussion. I actually want to know from Tottenham fans, like, this could be your most successful season in a number of years by winning the Europa League. However unlikely that may seem right now. But let's face it, there is a slim chance that that could happen. If that was to happen, would you still be Ange in or Ange out? I'm interested to know whether that's the case. I'm still interested to know if obviously you don't win the Europa League. Is there anybody out there that is still Ange in? I'm interested to know from Tottenham fans because for one reason or another, your fan base does seem fairly divided. Fairly divided. In terms of what to make of Big Ange Postecoglou. So, yes, what does it mean? Win the Europa League, still sack Ange. Win the Europa League, keep Ange. Lose the Europa League and keep him, or lose the Europa League and sack him. I want to know because it's such an interesting topic. It's one that I've talked about a lot, but I don't know which way really Tottenham fans are pointing in this direction. So it's going to be an interesting one. And like I say, United with Amorim. Look, I will reiterate what I've said time and time again about Ruben Amorim. He doesn't have a magic wand, okay? He doesn't have a magic wand that is instantly going to solve about 10 to 12 years or however long it's been since Sir Alex Ferguson of neglect and just poor ownership from the Glazers. He doesn't have a magic wand that is going to change and transform everything. Neither do Ineos. Ineos don't have that either. So this was always going to be a lengthy process. This was always going to be a time-consuming exercise that they have to get right in time with patience. I don't know what United fans were expecting. It's clear that you've got some players there that are not good enough. It's clear that you've got some players there that are past their use-by date. It's clear that you've got some players there that are just a part of a Frankenstein-type squad that has been put together under multiple different managers that you've had over the years, whether it be Solskjaer, whether it be Ten Hag, whether it be, Amorim now with Dorgu, and maybe even before that with maybe there's like a Mourinho player or two in there still. It's it was never going to be an overnight success. It was never going to change instantaneously. I don't know necessarily what United fans were expecting. I think some rival fans as well are maybe going a little bit. They may be going a little bit too hard in the direction of getting Amorim out or getting whoever out. I just see it as it being a case of just keep patient, remain patient. Amorim himself said that this was going to take time. Amorim himself said that this was going to be a time-consuming exercise. It's better than having a quick fix and getting all hyped up that certain players may actually not be that bad, and that it may just have been, you know, the previous manager's fault. Like, and then going, oh, well, we actually don't need any more players. We actually have these players that are actually decent, and this and that and the other. I feel like this process, the lengthy way, is going to at least produce something that the United fans can hold on to that is a bit more sustainable and maybe a bit more long term. That's not to say, by the way, that Amorim may be the guy. I rate Amorim. I liked him more and more the more that I got to hear about him and got to research about him, when, of course, it was seemingly being talked about that he may be the successor to Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool. I did like him more and more the more that I heard about him, and the more that I read about him, and the more that I listened to other people talk about him with. But he may not necessarily be the guy for United to take you back to where you want to be. But in order to get to where you want to be, which is at the top, which is obviously challenging for major honours, Champions Leagues, Premier Leagues and the like, there is stages you have to get to. There are achievements and accolades and objectives that you have to hit between where you currently are and where you want to be. That is not going to happen in one single season. There has to be multiple seasons of going through maybe some of the hard times to get to there. Jurgen Klopp with Liverpool did not get there overnight. You know, it took time. It took effort. It took a lot of trying and testing and trial and error. And eventually, we got to tasting success again, and consistent success at that over the several years that he was with the club. As much as we would have liked, annoyingly not, because obviously Manchester City were just slightly better than us over the course of the reign of Jurgen Klopp, especially in the Premier League. And on a Champions League level, Real Madrid were better than us on a Champions League stage as well. But Rome wasn't built in a day. United won't be resurrected in a day. Just trust. I know, obviously, Arsenal fans have overused the sort of trust the process tagline on all of those kind of buzzwords of project and all of that stuff. But it rings true. It does ring true that that's going to have to be the case. That is most certainly going to have to be the case going forward for Manchester United. You very well could win the Europa League this year. You very well could. It's not the realms of possibility. Do I think it will happen? I think there are maybe one or two other sides in that competition right now that are probably better equipped and maybe in a better position to win the Europa League over Man United. But that's not to say in one-off games, if the likes of Bruno Fernandes turns up, you know, if Garnacho, you know, is clinical in front of goal, if maybe, you know, like a broken clock, he works twice in a game. There's nothing that really says that United can't win this competition. But your goalkeeping situation, you don't have a solution to your goalkeeping situation, and it may be down to it may actually be true that maybe, just maybe, Tom Heaton is your best goalkeeper at your football club, which says an awful lot about your football club. It's not out of the realms of possibility and out of the question to even consider that may be a fact, given the way that Onana's concentration levels are appalling. His distribution, that was the main thing he was brought in for, is not all there as we expected it to be when we saw him at Inter. and obviously how his backup goalkeeper, this Bayender, I hope I'm pronouncing that name right, is not exactly in a position to deputise whenever called upon. We've seen him a fair few times this season have an opportunity, but not necessarily grasp it with both hands, ironically, because lets it slip. But no, like I say, this was never going to be an overnight success by United. Definitely needs to be given the time, the patience, the effort to succeed, to blossom into something. I think Amorim is the guy to at least begin that part of the process. I really, really do. I don't necessarily think, well, like I said, I rate the guy. I don't necessarily know if he's going to be the guy to win you the major honors, but he could be a good project guy. And if not, if in a few years' time you feel like you hit your ceiling with him, you go for an upgraded manager and you go, thank you for everything that you've done in rebuilding this club. We just need someone to get us over the finish line. Similar to how I think Mikel Arteta operates at Arsenal and should operate at Arsenal going forward. But that may be another topic for another day. I'm going to leave it there, guys. I'm going to leave it there because I've rambled on for way too long. Way too long. Thank you to everyone who stopped by, even if it was very briefly. Thank you to everyone who got involved in the chat. Thank you to the likes of Luca, of course. You'll Never Walk Alone 66. Ballum, of course. Would lovely to have him back. Jordan stopped by briefly as well. Elizabeth was here. Possessed Boy. Always great to see you all. Love you all. Fletcher Truman, my dude, Leeds are going up. Hey, if you are, you're probably going straight back down, but nah. Yeah, I mean, fair play. What we're going to say? Leeds are going back up to go straight back down, yeah? It could work. It could happen. I don't know, man. I don't know. We shall see. It's a close 3-horse race, that, isn't it? The championship. Hater. Not a hater. I'm just being realistic. I'm just saying that the gap between the Premier League and the Championship is as wide as it's ever been. And the evidence of that is that the 3 newly promoted sides are going back down this season, as they did last season. So I'm just basing it off that logic, in all honesty. It's nothing to do with your club. I just think that you're not exactly helped by the powers that be and the leagues that be. So where are you at? I didn't actually realize how close it was. I thought it was much closer than that, to be fair, between the top 3. 5 points between Leeds and Burnley, who are joint level on points with 88. Goal difference separates them, which is why Leeds are top. Sheffield United in 3rd, 83 points. 5 points separates them. There's 4 games to go. Yeah, that's pretty much done, isn't it? The top 2 are pretty much set, depending on which order. Obviously, we're waiting to see. What about the playoff? How are the playoffs looking? Big gap between 3rd and 4th. About a 7-point gap between 3rd and 4th. Even bigger between 4th and 5th. There's 12 points going off between 4th place Sunderland and 5th place Bristol City. 1 point separates Bristol City and Coventry. And then outside, you've got West Brom on 60, Middlesbrough on 60, Millwall on 60, Blackburn on 56, So it's quite open in terms of the playoffs, at least for that last playoff spot with, like I say, 4 games to go. Could be interesting. And I don't know how the fixtures run either. So I don't know if any of them teams are playing each other, and that could be big for either one of those teams, a big playoff 6-pointer. But no. But no, like I say, it's going to be a very interesting end to the season, I'm sure. It's going to be interesting to see if any one of those newly promoted championship sides actually does make it and keep their heads above water going forward into the Premier League. But I'd like to mention, guys, thank you everybody for coming along to the live stream. Thank you everyone that contributed to the chat. You guys are absolutely awesome. Thank you to everyone that has liked the video and subscribed as well during this as well. Don't forget to do so if you haven't already. Like and subscribe. Get involved in the comments as well if there's anything that you guys wanted to say about the live stream, or if anything that you guys wanted to say about any future videos or live streams that you have in mind, any other topics of conversation you want to maybe throw into the next video / live stream. Get all involved. Would love to hear from you all. It will all be greatly appreciated from you all. So thank you all so much for that. Thank you all for your continued or brand new support to the channel, whichever one it is. Greatly appreciated by myself. So thank you all. You guys are absolutely awesome. Very much appreciated. Never taken for granted. So thank you all for that. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks live stream. And I will see you guys all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I will, before I go, one last thing. Like I say, if you go to, where is he? If you go to this guy's channel, You'll Never Walk Alone 66. If you follow his channel, like I say, he's got some great stuff going on over there. Do check him out. Big Liverpool fan. Doing some really good watch-alongs as well. I'll be over there at 3 o'clock talking. It is 3 o'clock, right? Yeah, 3 o'clock. I don't know why my brain just went. Maybe it's not. Second guess myself. I'll be over there at 3 o'clock. I'll be talking all things Liverpool and potential transfer stories that are coming up maybe in the summer. So it could be a very interesting video. And like I say, after talking so much about Arsenal these past several days, really good to talk good stuff about Liverpool and maybe some promising and exciting stuff about Liverpool to really cleanse how awkward and horrible I am feeling about waxing so much lyrical about Arsenal. Yeah, I feel awkward. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. I'll see you all very soon. Like I say, head on over to his channel. We'll be over there very, very shortly. If not, have a good day. Speak to you all again very, very soon.